Our next speaker is a veteran, a father, a mental health activist, and a motivational speaker. He embodies the mission of reducing stigma by sharing his mental health recovery journey and a powerful message of connection. We are proud to present for his second year, Robbie Spencer Millward.
Thank you, Matt, for such a warm introduction. Before I get started, I'd like to say something on behalf of my community. A few hours ago, while preparing for today, we learned that we lost a friend of ours to the demons that we all struggle with. So Alex, we miss you, we love you, we're with your family. Please know that you're loved. So, as Matt said, my name is Robbie Millward, and I am, most importantly, a father. And being a father is what led me here today. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about my journey and how we arrived at me speaking for you. I grew up like most kids with a latchkey around my neck, going home after school to hang out with my friends and my brother, just like any other suburban neighborhood kid. What was a little bit different about me is my anxiety. Back then, all I knew it was worry. And I had a nickname of Worrywart as a kid. It's because I would constantly be worried about the smallest of things. There's enough gas in the car to get us home. Did I put my seatbelt on fast enough? Am I doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing? As I grew, and as I started learning more about my illness, I understood that that wasn't worry. I want a worrywart. Inside of me, I have three demons: anxiety, depression, and PTSD. It was that anxiety that drove that worry, that drove my mind to always race and ask questions. I always needed to know what everybody was saying, thinking they were talking about me. I would plant myself in places in my house when we'd have people over to strategically hear, concerned that they had a thought about me that was negative, so I could learn and hopefully change. That did not happen. Fast forward to 2000. I'm in the Air Force. I'm in Anchorage, Alaska, Elmendorf Air Force Base. Very, very far away, 4,500 miles from Milford, New Hampshire, where I grew up. Away from everybody I knew, away from my friends, my support. The internet just began, so communicating was very difficult. And that's where I had one of the hardest moments of my time, and I attempted on my life. And as horrible as that is to say, and as horrible as it feels to know the harm that I've caused others, that day changed my life, and effectively it changed the lives of those around me. When I got home after my honorable discharge, I wanted to talk, I wanted to share. I couldn't. I was too afraid of what people would think of the guy that wrestled for their school, the guy that's bartending for them right now, the guy whose little brother was in the high school right now. What would they think of him? So I didn't say a word. I half-heartedly threw myself into my recovery, sometimes take the medication that the Air Force doctors gave me, never talked about it with my own doctors back in New Hampshire. Then I just stopped. And that feeling, that anxious feeling we get crawling out of our skin. We can't stop moving. We can take a breath, but it is just not enough of a breath. So I started drinking because that drowned that for a moment. The next day, no, it was a lot worse. So much worse. That's how I managed my life until about 2011, 2012. And at that point, I'd had enough. I'm a career salesman, and I remember vividly sitting at my therapist's office with one laptop, a cell phone, and another cell phone right next to each other, half listening, half participating with Katie, and half trying to wait to see what I needed to do for work, how I can help serve, how I can sell something, how I can do my job. Because that's where I lived. That's who I was. I was that sales guy. I was Robbie the salesman. I wasn't Robbie the person. I wasn't Robbie the father, the son, the dad. I wasn't any of that. I was Robbie the salesperson. It's very important to hear that because that's what my life was dedicated to. It wasn't dedicated to becoming a better me. It wasn't dedicated to becoming a better father. wasn't dedicated to becoming a better son or brother or friend. It was dedicated to making as much money as I could. And that is where I saw myself. That is where I saw the ugliness in my face when I looked in the mirror. That's where I saw the man that was not the child he used to be, where he would hug and love. He was angry, didn't sleep, he was on edge. Whatever it took to make that buck. Something happened and I don't know. Something cracked, something broke, something snapped. I ended up out of work for 9 months on a leave of absence. That was the first step. That 9-month leave of absence put it so much in perspective for me. It allowed me to take up photography where I could literally, pun intended, focus on one singular thing and not think about everything else that's in my head. My photography has allowed me to be able to stop in a moment, pause, look and reflect at what I want to see, focus in on it, make sure I have the right light, make sure there isn't a shadow there. And I take that picture, that instant snap, and I capture a portion of my life, a portion of others' lives. This is extremely important to me. Taking pictures, speaking, and being a father. My darkest moment was February 2018, and that's where the biggest crack in my foundation came from. I don't know what was going on, but I wasn't me. I was an angry man, which I am not. Zero patience, zero ability to even think about others. Couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't talk. The remote control could be right here, and I didn't even have the energy, the desire, the need, the want to pick it up and change the channel. 4 weeks I laid there. I thought I was gonna die. I seriously and genuinely thought I was gonna die. The amount of weight that I lost was disgusting. At the urging of my family, my outpatient program therapist, the director of my hospital, my psychiatrist, my sociologist, my girlfriend, my kids, I went into inpatient program again, something I hadn't done for 20 years. And this time I actually leaned in and I took my wrestling lineage and I put everything into it. Every day I'd wake up on a mission to get better, not just for me, but for you, for my family, to help, to show that it's okay to feel vulnerable. It's okay to feel like you're crashing. It's okay to cry. I decided to tell my friends right after I had that meeting with everybody. And I went to their house, and these are my two biggest champions. And I walked in, I saw Michaela, and she was crying. And I said, I did it, I made the choice, I'm gonna get help, I need this help. Please tell me it's okay. Absolutely, Robbie, it is. Something was off, something was amiss. Michaela, what's going on? Robbie, 10 hours ago, Jason took his life. My close friend, her husband, cracked. The very next day, I stepped into that hospital, and that's when I started my long, hard journey. And I took the hardest step possible. I asked for help. I admitted what's going on in me. Doing so has allowed me to be the example that I need my kids to see. My daughter struggles, and she's open about it, and I couldn't be more proud of her. Ava's got the strength that I wish I had at her age, the strength I wish I had now. She can talk openly. This is a normal conversation for her and her friends. 2.5 years ago when I met Matt and TJ, I said to them in the studio, my hope is before I die, this conversation will be human and normal so that my kids could feel comfortable having it. Ava does. I thought that April was the hardest April I'd ever see. 2020, hold my beer. January of 2020, we welcomed this beautiful little granddaughter of mine into our worlds. January 14th, Elizabeth Aubin was born. My granddaughter, my squish. This cruel world took her away from me on April 5th. from SIDS. It broke. I'm still not fixed. I still have that light. I still see it. I know it's there. It's a little bit smaller, and there's days it flickers. But what I have learned, what I've taken from my past, is that I know no matter how terrible and how hurtful I am right now, I can get through this. And I'm proud to say it didn't take my support family. It didn't take my medical support team. It didn't take my friends saying, Robbie, you need to go in the hospital. I recognized at that time I needed to step back from work, and I took a leave of absence to do what I needed to do. And I was focused on me and help my family heal. A year ago, I couldn't have made that decision. I ended up in the hospital. Literally 12 months later, I did not end up in the hospital. I know my tools, and I had to reach deep into that bag this year, and I still am. Before I leave you tonight, before I give my thanks to everybody, I need to read to you a poem, and I can guarantee you I will cry. This is my poem to my granddaughter. This is my poem to all of you. And as somebody that seeks therapy in ink and tattoos, I have this poem right here. Squish, Whoopi misses you, and he loves you more than you know. Let no sadness come to this heart. Let no trouble come to these arms. Let no conflict come to these eyes. Let my soul be filled with the blessing of joy and peace. It's been a tremendous honor to do this for the second year in a row. It's been a tremendous honor to be here with all these great people, beautiful musicians, beautiful words. Matt, TJ, thank you again for allowing me to share my voice and my story on your platform. If you are out there suffering and you are in crisis, please ask for help. I know it's hard, but that's the hardest step you will take. Know that you are loved because I love you, and you've heard that today. Thank you.